red flag flying here.
What I think I want to talk about is the power of solidarity and the difference solidarity can make to a group of people. As a union rep, I've seen a number of situations where solidarity's worked, and I've seen a number of situations where solidarity hasn't worked, and I've kind of seen a few that are somewhere in between those two. The occasion I'm going to talk about is one where we had a dispute at one of the places that I have worked in the past, and it was about redundancies. We found that a group of people were going to be made redundant from that workplace, and we tried as a group of people to fight against this. What we did is we had a look at all the finances, and we actually found out the redundancies weren't necessary. They were being done because they wanted to get rid of certain people, and we came together as a group of people, as a group of members of staff, to try and show solidarity to those people that we thought were being got rid of. So, we did a few different things. We had loads of meetings. We tried to do our best for those people. We tried to use logic. We tried to use reason. And at the end of the day, the bosses had decided on what their course of action was, and they had certain people earmarked for redundancy. So what we did as a group of people is we had a ballot to see if we could maybe take a day's strike over this action and see whether we could keep these people in their jobs. Sadly, a little bit of boss solidarity got involved, and a lot of the bosses joined the union at the last minute and took us down just under the threshold we would have needed to have gone on strike. So it was well over half the members of staff were willing to show solidarity to those people, and a few people weren't willing to show that solidarity. And sadly, it's very difficult if you don't have close to 100% of people on board. If you don't have 100% solidarity, it is really challenging to get over that threshold to go on strike. So the process went forward, the redundancies occurred, and I went into every single meeting with a person who was made redundant. And there were some people who came out of the meetings and were happy because they hadn't been made redundant, and there were some people who were utterly devastated that they'd been in this long process where they knew they'd been earmarked. Maybe they were too expensive, maybe they had a few ideas and that didn't fit in with the boss's mentality or philosophy. So they knew they were going to lose the job long term, and a few people had their jobs saved at the last minute, but really we always knew that they were safe. And I sat in every single meeting with those people, and as they came out of the meeting, one person who was absolutely devastated at this saw someone who was saved and went over to this person who had kept his job, and she just gave him a massive hug and said, "It's all right, it's not your fault," and comforted a man whose job had just been saved at her expense. And I thought, what a tremendous act of human solidarity that is. She saw someone who was down, who was feeling terrible about the situation that he was in, because it wasn't his fault that he'd kept his job, and she made him feel better. And the group of people who had fought and shown solidarity towards each other were all embracing, and the bosses were kind of looking at us as if they didn't understand what we were doing. They didn't understand why we cared about one another so much, and they didn't understand what that feeling was that we were showing each other, and that was solidarity. Now, this is kind of a negative story, but it's a positive story in a way, because a lot of the people who were involved in that situation have now gone on and are now much happier. They were unhappy in that workplace, and now they're happier somewhere else. And, things haven't particularly got any better in the workplace that I'm talking about. And the other aspect of this I want to talk about is those people who got rid of those really kind, caring people, they don't experience that. They don't experience that caring for one another, and it's a huge deal, and it's being part of something. And I'll never forget that, and I will remain friends with those people, and I will always show them solidarity, and I always know that they will show solidarity to me. And that is something that you can have all the power in the world, but without that human connection, I know who I'd want to go into battle with. I'd want to go into battle with people who were going to show me solidarity. I want those people on my side. And I think 2021 needs to be the year that more of us show solidarity with one another, because the power of solidarity is absolutely huge. Even when you lose and you show solidarity, there's an element of victory about it. And ultimately, solidarity is the only way that we can improve the lives of every single person in this country. So, solidarity to you all.
Keep the red flag flying here.